The Atlas go 2-0 on their home turf this weekend, matching their entire win tally from last season. This defense is extremely young, but it showed its dominance holding the Cannons to 12 and the Whipsnakes to 13 goals. To no one's surprise, one player stood out from the rest, and that was Gavin Adler. The 5'8" product of Cornell plays well above his size and has proven to be one of the best poles in the league. Against the Whipsnakes, he got the Zed Williams matchup, who's one of the biggest attackmen in the league, further showing how strong Adler is. Last season, he finished as an all-star with 11 caused turnovers and 10 ground balls, even while missing lots of games due to injury. This season, he's playing with an insane level of confidence and has a bright future ahead of him. His fast feet and ability to double-team attackmen as soon as they turn their head characterizes him. Today, I'm going to show what makes Gavin Adler so good. Before we go any further, if you learn anything from these film breakdowns and want more, visit Lacrosse.com to get your own film analyzed. Your film will be critiqued in the same way we critique the pros and college stars. We also just released our free newsletter on the website where you will receive a lacrosse tip each week. Again, check the link in the description for Lacrosse.com for your very own film breakdown and our newsletter. Let's get back to the video. Here's our first clip.
He told me his dad's been giving him
the
grip.
Good, no question mark.
The squeezer thing's almost like the pliers.
For the last 30 years, every Christmas.
Adler lines up with Zed behind the cage. Even on the initial part of the dodge, you can already see Adler getting into Zed's body. Adler is so athletic and fast that he can play this aggressive, and even if he makes a mistake, he can recover. On the roll, Adler goes for this trailing slap check. While it didn't hit here, this is one of the most effective and risk-free checks in lacrosse. Adler now plays his angles and keeps his distance between him, awaiting to make contact. Once they reach GLE, Adler knows that Zed is a threat, so he begins to drive him out. When playing coverages like this, think about anywhere 5 yards above and to the side of the cage as a dangerous zone. You want to drive your man as far away from that area or zone as possible. As Zed drives up the field in this one-hand cradle, you can see the end of his stick trailing. Adler takes advantage and slaps down. Adler can throw all of these checks during this coverage because of how fast his feet are. Always remember, the faster you are, the more freedom you have with your stick. Here's our next clip.
I wanted to be like Scott Marr and so many others that paved the way in a town like...
Adler's playing the adjacent man here, and while he's not the hot slide, he still goes for the double team. There are a couple keys here to make this successful. First is timing. Adler waits until he sees the back of Rambo's jersey until he double teams. If he leaves prematurely, Rambo can see that his man will be wide open on the backside. The second key is playing body. Most players would just go for a stick check in this position to get the flashy takeaway. But you have to realize you have your teammate on the double, and your biggest priority is applying pressure so the ball carrier cannot pass back. Adler gets into Rambo's body with his V-hold, which handcuffs him, and he throws a bad pass, causing a turnover. Here's our next clip.
Go ahead!
Double team comes. Rambo can't get a shot off. We'll get a flag here, though.
Zed is behind the cage in an attempt to start a two-man behind. When he realizes Rambo wants to go to the cage, he elevates above the cage. Now that Adler's man is on the crease, he becomes the new hot slide. Biggest thing about this slide is how there's zero hesitation. Adler fires off the crease and seals the top side from Rambo and is off balance. Again, the key to sliding is full commitment so the ball carrier cannot pass. Here's our next clip.
Team. Skips it across to the far side. Chanenchuk thought about taking the shot with just 5 seconds to shoot.
The reason I chose this clip is because of Adler's breakdown and how fast he extends out. Since Adler is on the backside, he's helping to the inside. As soon as he sees the skip pass, he sprints back to his man for the extended approach. Most players would stop moving their feet and jump up at the ball trying to pick it off. Great players like Adler know the number one priority is getting back to their man. By having such an extended approach, it takes out the threat of his man instantly shooting. Adler breaks down and goes for the slap on the backside that doesn't land. He's now in a trail position as his man cuts across the top. Watch how he puts one hand on his stick and gets his head into his match's body. Even though he's trailing heavily, his man is still feeling that pressure. As his man resquares, Adler stays patient, waiting for the contact to come to him. The double team wasn't really necessary and almost caused a goal, but that wasn't Adler's fault. Here's our next clip.
Zed again. Trying to use that physicality. Double team comes. Nice pass. Too good defense.
Adler matches up with Zed and waits for contact. Both him and Zed love contact matchups. As Adler is jamming Zed, watch how he's staying balanced the whole time. He isn't leaning one way or another, allowing for an opening. On the roll, Adler gets caught up in this beautifully placed pick. Him and Danny Logan now have switched matchups. But since Adler's new man is behind the cage, he becomes what is called a coma slide. A coma slide is a cross crease slide. Since Adler's man is at X and not an immediate threat, he has the freedom to slide only if Logan can deny topside and send Zed under. In this case, Adler fires across the crease and double teams the ball, trying to get a takeaway. Since Zed Williams is one of the best players in the world, he's somehow able to get this pass off, but the Atlas defense is able to crack down and help on the backside. Here's our next clip.
The fact that Petey LaSalle has done actually a very good job against Trevor Baptiste in this game at the beginning of the game.
There isn't too much to break down here, but this clip truly shows Adler's strength. The biggest thing we can learn, as we were saying earlier, is to slide to the body. When you slide to the body, 9 times out of 10, you also slide to their stick. Yet when you try to slide to the stick, many times you're going to be hitting nothing. This clip also shows a next play mentality. Zed was open because Adler got distracted, but instead of accepting this, Adler hustled and cleaned Zed out in the process. Here's our last clip.
In the last few draws after it was all Baptiste early. Still though, relentless is Gavin Adler in this New York defense to get the ball away and get it back.
Adler's playing his man on the inside and understands that Maryland has numbers. As this ball is thrown, he fires out quickly, knowing he can apply easy pressure to a pole, and that if he doesn't, he's a huge shooting threat. I chose this clip though because while seemingly easy, it can be hard to guard poles sometimes. You tend to chase stick, and more often than not, you underestimate them. Adler goes for a stick check but misses, and he knows that he can't keep chasing it. Right after though, he jams and is sending his man off balance, and it results in a bad pass. This whole time, Adler's feet were constantly moving. He's then able to pick off this ground ball in one bounce. Adler is truly one of my favorite pulls to watch in this league, and I know he will do great things this season. I'm psyched to see the success of this Atlas defense as it shows the talent of newcomers into the league. It's hard to believe that's only Adler's second year in the league with the level of confidence he's playing at. Thank you so much for watching, and check out the link in the description for your own film breakdown and our free lacrosse newsletter that will have news on the PLL weekly.